Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Anugo of New Home Sales. I'm Sarah Williams, the Director of Sales here at Anugo. And with me today, my co-host is John Lee. Today, we're talking about search and how AI is impacting search. So the title of this podcast is In Search Of. And John Lee, you're going to kick us off today.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me come back on the show here. I want to start right from the beginning because there's a lot to cover here. And, search is such a basic function of just people's lives. And it's the expression of our natural curiosity and our desires. And usually search is for something that's really important, meaningful, and it's complex or it's hard to find, like in search of the meaning of life, for a spouse, for a career, for a house. And so I really want to bring it to, our industry here, in search of a home. And homes is really an important thing to be in search of because it really fulfills those 5 Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And, you marketing people out there with psychology degrees, you know what I'm talking about here. It fulfills, the home fulfills, the need for shelter, for security, for belonging, for even your self-esteem, that status and that respect. And ultimately, even your self-actualization of your dreams. And so that search is so critical in this whole process for marketing. I mean, it's really the fundamental start for new home marketing. And I would argue that the better the search process and experience, the better the likelihood of a sales conversion. And now there's probably 2 types of searches out there. There's one that's the passive search. And basically that's just for the people that are just saying, hey, I'm just looking around, I'm in the market. That's great for like social media, people just referring things and saying, hey, did you see that? But what I really want to focus today on is that active search. Those are the people that are really intent on actually shopping for a home. And so they need to have a great experience. And that's why we have put that search function as one of our and foremost basic functions of our Anugo apps, which is enabling the buyer to be able to find and then design, which nobody else can do that I know of, experience that personal home, and then ultimately be able to buy that home online. One of the things that is interesting from, according to Zillow, that 2/3 of people actually want to buy new, but only 10 to 15% actually do. And a lot of people think, oh, that's because they can't design it online. I mean, that's great for us because we offer that. But I would argue, and I contend that I believe that most people are giving up because of the find process. It's just such an arduous, repetitive, fear of missing out, a lot of manual steps to get there. And that's why we want to focus on search today. And let me go back to the history of home searches here. How do people actually want to search? We want to search to be easy. We want to be fast. We want to be comprehensive. We want to cover everything. We don't want to miss out, but we don't want to look through every needle in every haystack, for every needle in every haystack. And we also want to be accurate. And now, how do you do that? It's been such a painful process. Well, technology can continue to improve those factors. Let's go back to the old days. And I've been here over 20 years. The old days, and you've been here too, the old days of searching for a new home was print. And how is print? Well, you go to the classified sections of newspaper. You actually had to go out and buy a few newspaper and probably even pick it up from your driveway and then open it up to go to the right section and then find the section about homes and then new homes. And so it's a very painful process. The old days, there actually used to be real estate magazines. You pick it up and you look for those new homes there, our booklets. And
There's still in the
some of
grocery
those for
store.
some people.
Yeah, there's still those.
Or you go even the old fashioned way. You walk around, you drive around, you look at signs. And, or you have a realtor that does that for you. So some of those are the traditional ways of search. And it's very painful, very costly, very time consuming. With technology here, as we've gone toward digital, we've improved that search process by allowing you to, use search engines. So now you type in a few keywords you look for, or you can even go to a portal like Zillow and use their maps and filters to help in that search process. So one of the things that we're seeing with technology is that progressively more and more people are doing their searches online, and they're doing it themselves, not necessarily with, a realtor having to take them around and all that. And they're really letting their fingers do the walking instead of their feet. So it's becoming a better process, but it's still a very manual process. Even digitally, they have to digitally search those keywords, if they even know what the jargon is for new homes, and they're only limited to 4 or 5 keywords, new homes, Raleigh. And now what else do I say? And I can't say all my dreams in there, but I can't say much more because it won't go much deeper. And all that search does, it doesn't bring you your dream home. It brings you to other resources. It directs you to other places that then you can start a whole new search again. So what we're going to try to talk about today is how we're going for these manual physical searches, which mostly is behind us, to then those manual digital searches, which is really the search engines, and that you have to kind of repeat and rinse every day, to what we're calling AI assistance, where you're using natural conversation, natural languages. The system is speaking your language, and it directs you to actual answers and not just directory assistance to other places. All right, so let me elaborate more on this search evolution. How does this impact marketing? Because that's what most of our listeners here are about, right? It really does affect marketing from the old way of marketing, which I would say it's very painful for buyers. I call it search, research, and then research. And what that means is you have to start on the search engine, right? So you're searching for these things based on the few keywords that you have. Then once you get those results of all these websites, you have to now research every website to see what all that's about. And then when you can't find what you've looked at from those listed websites, which are often sponsored and ranked, you have to now research again. So
go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. So it's just going over and over again. And after you do this like 4 or 5 times, you're probably saying, hey, there's too many haystacks, or I'm never going to find the needle in these haystacks. It's not worth my time. And so you just get frustrated. So it's really a process of me doing. And what we're saying in the future is it's going to be doing it for me. And this is where technology allows you to do that. It's answer me, bring it to me, notify me.
And I would say, John, with that, I mean, think about real estate agents. Why do people hire real estate agents? Because they had access to the MLS, which is a digital, well, before it wasn't all as digital, but now it's completely digital, and there was no portals. And when I say a portal or a marketplace, I'm talking about the Zillows and Realtor.coms, then entered Zillow and Realtor.com that the MLS pulled into. So now more people have access to it, and then technology hadn't caught up yet. Now there is some self-service of in your inbox notifications that homes are on the market that meet your criteria. So in the past 15 years, everything keeps evolving from, just real estate agents having access to this, then the marketplaces, and now there is some sort of delivery service into your inbox or a text notification.
Right.
But this next evolution is even more disruptive, as all these other things have been to the processes we've known it.
Exactly. And before I get to this hidden jewel here, I just want to reiterate, how do we even get to this point? Some of the old ways of those classified ads, it really was the foundation to how Google has converted into its digital search engine. The reason they call classified ads is because they were classified into like lost and found, or looking for a job, or homes, whatever. So they classified all this stuff. And so what they've done is they take that classification system, they brought it online. And then now using your keywords, it's now going to say, oh, you're looking for new homes. So let me bring up the classified section for new homes. And now here's a list of all those traditionally would be classified ads that you would now click on to go to each website. So Google has taken a painful manual process and digitized it. And they really monetized that over the last 2 decades. And that's been fundamental to our industry. But it's primarily built around only the website channel. Obviously, there's another thing going on where there's been explosion, proliferation of other channels. So as consumers start to shop other channels, whether it's social media or portals or sales centers or emails and other TikTok or whatever, your audience of people that are coming in through a search engine becomes less and less and less. Okay, that's one side of it. The new approach is what the buyer wants to do now online is not to manually search for all that stuff. They wanted automated personal content and answers and products to wherever they are, anytime, anywhere, anyhow. And what they want to do is to convey that in a natural language query with direct personal answers that can then be followed up with more specific questions. So it's not just a search and just get a dump of results. I want to continue that conversation just like you would with a real person. And the difference between an AI chat platform versus, say, a search engine is you can now ask open-ended questions in a sentence format, in a question format, as opposed to just 3 or 4 keywords. And then the results are not like a traditional chatbot or traditional search engine result, which is just already preset answers, like links are like a decision tree of responses. It's more
or thinking about Alexa, like
yes,
John,
like
thinking about
Alexa or
Alexa, just to be clear, what we're talking about is going to be more audible, like in your voice, what John's talking about. But today, as we all know it, like for day-to-day household, is Alexa, Siri, that you can talk, but that's still a search engine giving you one result. It's not an open-ended, it's an open-ended question, just with a search result like you would find in Google. It's just serving it up. This is going to be a lot different.
And the reason we're talking about this today is because in the last week, there's been a new platform called OpenAI, and it was actually founded by Elon Musk back in 2017 or so. And what it's trying to do is to take all that collective knowledge across all these platforms on the internet, and then allow you to converse with it to get personalized responses. And they're calling their AI ChatGPT. Now, this gets very technical, but GPT is generative pre-trained transformer. Okay. Now, what does that mean? It means that the AI is generating text or images or even verbal responses in a way that's responsive to you. And it's continuing to learn as it has more and more data and as you interact with it. And so the AI is taking all this data from their cloud neural networks, I know this is getting jargony, to generate all that information. And it can even combine text with images, which some of you may have also heard of DALL-E 2, which is you type in a phrase and it would now render an image of that on the fly. So it's now able to now combine a response both in a textual form and with a visual representation of it. Picture's worth 1,000 words, but this time 1,000 words may be the picture here. Let's role play in a scenario. This is an actual conversation I had with OpenAI's AI. And in this scenario here, I'm going to pretend to be the new home shopper, and Sarah Williams is going to be the AI. And it's appropriate that she's the AI because she was the OSC of the year. So she's used to working with consumers online.
Right. Answering all those questions, live chat, all the things. All right. So I'm the AI engine. So this is not a human doing this, to be clear. This is a computerized system. It starts out, I am an AI created by OpenAI. How can I help you today?
I'm interested in buying new homes in Raleigh. Can you help me?
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to help you with your purchase. What type of homes are you interested in? Do you have a specific price range or location in mind?
Yes, $700,000 to $1 million.
Got it. Are you looking for homes in a specific part of Raleigh? Do you have any particular features or amenities that you're looking for?
I'm looking in Holly Springs, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 3,000 square feet with a bonus room.
Sounds great. Let me pull up some listings that match your criteria. Can I send you the information via email?
Sure.
Great. I'll get that information to you right away. Is there anything else I can help you with?
That's it. Thanks.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
And none of that was edited by us. That's exactly the responses it gave to us. And so one of the things that really impressed me was how quickly it was able to pull up that information, how it understood my questions and the way I spoke it and the intent, and then to be able to pull up those resources and then be able to, in a non-robotic way, in a very conversational and even cordial way of responding and saying, I'm going to follow up with you. What do you think, Sarah?
I have so much to say on this because if anyone that knows me outside of this podcast knows that I was not a fan of live chat when I was an OSC. I was so busy. Because live chat is a human, right? I dabbled a little bit in chatbots later on, but initially it was live chat, just me, because I was always on the phone. And when you're on the phone and the live chat's lit up, like I'm continuing to talk to the person that I'm on the phone with. So it'd always have out of office. So in this example, this would be amazing. This would be amazing if me, the human, is not available. This is so much better than I have used a chatbot. Like I mentioned, the chatbot that I used, it was early stages. So it was in the very early stages of when chatbots came out. I had to feed the bot every question that I thought someone would ask and the answer, me, the human. I had to just feed the
Right. It's like a
machine, if you
decision
will.
tree of answers. Like,
Right.
okay,
Which,
if they answer A, then you give them X. And if you
right.
answer B, you give them Y.
Okay. And so when I'm thinking of how arduous that was, and for a busy salesperson or a busy marketer to have to feed a chatbot like that, I mean, that's like a full-time job. And it was just a lot of brain, like, just entering it in and then, oh, wait, and we all have been in a bot experience. If they, oh, sorry, I didn't get that. Ask me your question again. Like, we've all had that experience. So then it turns into a horrible customer experience. This literally is saying, hey, I'm a chatbot or I'm an AI machine. But as John already said, how conversational. Now, granted, I'm the one speaking, and this is like kind of my job is to be able to speak in a conversational way. So I'm the AI. But if you read the text, and John posted this in his LinkedIn, if you follow him on LinkedIn, you can read it in actual textual. You can read it in your own voice. It is so comfortable. It's so conversational. It literally would be how I would have written it without me having to physically write it. And that is what I think is so awesome about this new technology and where it's going to take my OSCs out there, my marketers, anyone using chatbot technology. This is the next level. Like everybody that has a chatbot, if they can inject this technology into it, it's a game changer.
Yes, because the current technology, whether it's a search engine or a traditional chatbot, like I said, is very algorithmic, very programmatic. So if you search on these keywords, and especially if you have a sponsor that put those words in there, you would just get those links. It doesn't even directly respond to what you're asking for. It just says, hey, here's a bunch of things that may be of interest. So it's like directory assistance. But on the chatbot piece, not only do you get robotic answers, doesn't matter that you're going to say, yes, we have a house for you. Every answer to everyone is, yes, we have a house for you, as opposed to saying, we have a beautiful mansion that has, the 4 bedrooms, 3 baths that you're looking for. So it's not responding back in the way that you are looking to continue the conversation. And it's also already a predetermined hierarchy of questions, whereas this is open-ended. And that open-ended, because you may want to be talking about your bedroom right now, but then later on you want to talk about, oh, where's this community at? So it needs to be able to flex with that and pull from that information. And that's what I really think is amazing, is that it's open-ended, it's conversational, relational, but yet it's very practical in terms of accuracy and information.
Now, here's what I get really, really excited about this type of technology. If our listeners have listened to our Anugo marketplace, the different, our countdown features, and any of our previous podcasts about what the future of Anugo and Anugo marketplace is going to be, John, this is what gets me really, really excited, because part of one of our biggest features, one of my favorite features, if anyone listened to that podcast, is our tagging feature. And the tagging feature that our marketplace is doing is tagging floor plans, communities. So all of that intelligence is built into our application. So I'm imagining that if in fact we can plug in a technology like this, John, into a tool like ours, we already have all of the knowledge base in there because we've tagged it. And this is where it's going to be a game changer for our clients and their home shoppers. And the home shopper experience is just going to level up, because we've already tagged all the information. We know everything about your communities, your sitemaps, your floor plans, your styles of your renderings, because we've tagged them here to Anugo with our technology. And now the intelligence is already built in, that no human is going to have to type it in.
We've been kind of working in parallel universes over here. On the Anugo side, we start out with content, and we have actually utilized AI in our cloud rendering engine, so that we can, just like OpenAI's generating images, we generate those unique homes that are designed by the customers on the fly, in depicting the colors that they chose, the options they chose, and also even changing the pricing and the contract language. It's doing everything from images to text on the fly, personalized around them, which in the bigger world of open AI is doing that across the marketplace. What we would do in the sales funnel here, there's basically 4 levels: attracting the audience, engaging the prospects, generating those leads, and then converting those sales. where I would see something like ChatGPT would be attracting that audience for people that are looking for new homes, learning when, where, and even why to buy new homes. It can respond to them in a conversational way, like we just exemplified, versus going through a search engine. Okay, now once they get to your website or even our Anugo marketplace channel, using our Anugo AI, which we affectionately call her Sophie, because like many of our consumers who are women, they're very sophisticated. So, but what her knowledge is in our particular products and our builders and the thousands of plans, communities, options, home sites, and as well as the personal buyer information, because each buyer has their own shopping cart, their own buyer's portals, their own favorites, which the open AI side would not know. So they bring the consumers to our marketplace across our ecosystem of channels, whether it's a website, the marketplace portal, or the sales center. And then we're able to take that consumer and continue to move them down the sales funnel in a more personalized, engaging way to generate the leads and convert the sales.
The more I read about this, and I think it's important for everyone to know the reason why we decided to talk about this on this podcast is because this technology has been out there, but it keeps improving. There's a lot of people within our own industry that are naysayers against AI because, you know what, in the beginning, it wasn't as solid. It wasn't as easy. It wasn't as far along as it is today at the end of 2022. But if you follow technology at all, whether you're on LinkedIn or if you follow the New York Times, this company is trending. It is trending. It is getting a lot of publicity. We share articles internally, and we've all been reading because we know how this could help our clients, our home shoppers, the home buying experience based on what we're doing here at Anugo. And we read up on this. And we're like, this is something for our builders to pay attention to. This is something for everybody to pay attention to, because the articles that are coming out is, you know, Google has been on its own, has been this free agent for so long. Nothing has really come close to disrupting the Google machine. And this particular technology is the closest thing, I believe, and I think, John, you might believe this too, that could potentially, and I'm not saying it will, but it has the makings and the persona that it could potentially disrupt Google. And I think that for my marketers, my digital marketers, people that really don't keep their ear to the ground on technology and what's happening and the way technology is changing, it's at warp speed right now. So thinking about the past 10 years, think about your cell phone, think about how your cell phone has evolved. We're talking about now what happened in the past 10 years. Within 365 days, within 2 years, things are just moving so rapidly. So this could happen in the articles that are being written. They're saying it could be within the next 2 years.
I follow this a lot, and I'm frankly amazed myself. I mean, this is the first time they released this to the public for everyone to try out, and it is open source, so it allows us to try some things and maybe even add information into that system ultimately to really promote new homes in our industry. We actually have been doing that ourselves because we weren't counting on anybody else to do it. So in our own marketplace here, we have used our own AI in our matching engine. So basically in our marketplace, if you take a quiz, it will then match the buyer with the builder, with the plan, with the options, and then also notify them. So we're starting to build an AI assistant or concierge in our own marketplace. And in this matching approach, which of recommendations, not only does the buyer complete their profile of what they're looking for, their must-haves, their like-to-haves, and then some other desirable psychographic type of information, the builders can also fill out a profile of their ideal customer. So in addition to the buyers shopping the builders can now shop the buyers. And when you have that perfect matching score, then it makes the sale a lot easier. The higher they get the match score, the more likelihood of a sales conversion. And so we're using AI on our own way to actually better service the customers. Another AI engine is called Copy AI. And that's what we've been using for even blogging and writing articles. So I've tested it out. You can put in like a few keywords. I put in like 6 keywords, and it basically wrote a whole article about green homes. Why you should live in a green home, what's it all about, how does it save you money? And the nice thing is it does the research for me. It writes in a grammatical way. It even puts an introduction and a conclusion to it. And then because it's generative, if I don't like a certain paragraph, I can hit generate and it would generate another version of it. It could also change on the style. If you want to write for professionals, if you want to write it for, a comedy or whatever approach and audience that you want, it can now generate that on the fly. So how's that going to impact new home marketers? It's going to affect everybody that creates that kind of content, whether it's text or images. It's going to also affect even advertisers. If you're an advertiser that is paid to write articles to now put onto a marketplace or a portal to then be a sponsor and then get paid for all that, you may not be needed because the buyer would just say, hey, tell me about Charleston and why should I live there? And how's it like in the summertime or whatever? And they would just respond and write a personalized article with associated pictures for that. How are you going to beat that in the sense of relevant content and attractive content? So this also will affect how you service the customers because this affects the customer engagement. I'm not saying we're going to eliminate humans, but in the middle of the night or for somebody just making general inquiries, a very high level kind of conversations, maybe this is a great way to field those leads. And then later on, as part of your conversation that you program in there is like, hey, would you like to talk to Sarah? And then Sarah is the real person there that continues to pick it up. But when Sarah picks up that baton, she already has a good idea of some of their interests. And it's already kind of maybe even the AI is guiding Sarah to say, hey, she really wants to buy a house in Charleston and, wants to be near the beach and wants these kind of amenities. So you don't have to start from scratch. You actually start with an AI introduction.
Well, I look at it as a virtual assistant, right, John? So
Right.
whether it's a chatbot, whether it's when I'm sleeping and someone's online, and to be clear, I know there's people that have experienced this and have not, and it's too computerized and it's not a human. And I'm a huge believer in humans. I don't want anyone to take this podcast the wrong way. But I do believe that if we can simplify some of those arduous tasks, like John just talked about writing articles and blogging or answering some, really easy questions that someone has, that if you can automate those, it frees me up as a high performing salesperson or a high performing OSD or high performing marketer to do the things that really need a human to do versus if I need some blog content and I can put in a bunch of, I can write some of it, but then I can have assistants and feed an AI machine and then they make it make sense. And I'm feeding my content machine, I'm feeding my blogs, I'm feeding my social media posts. And when you read up on this particular new technology, it's not new technology, but enhanced and advanced technology, they give so many examples of what in fact this could impact and disrupt. And it's so eye-opening because it's a lot of people's creative type jobs, but again, I think that creativity is still going to be there, but you can have someone writing some of those, again, those arduous task type things, and then you can come in and proofread it, fix it up, and then it's done. Now a blog article is taking you 15 minutes versus 3 hours.
Right. I think, for a lot of our builders who are small and they don't have the skill sets, the budget, the department size to cover all these things, and even sporadically, sometimes you don't need a full-time person to just write a blog and all that, that this could be a great productivity tool, saves you a lot of research, saves you a lot of content creation, like you're saying. But I actually think at a macro level here, what you're starting to see from, say, Google searches on one side and these ChatGPT AI assistants on the other side, is that you're seeing this divergence between very generic audiences, because Google doesn't give you any of the personal information. It's all anonymous, and it's going to be even worse when it goes cookieless. So it has very broad, generic, static content to reach a very anonymous audience. Whereas on this other side here, you're getting more and more personalization. you're getting a direct conversation between each individual and the content that they're looking for. And so as this continues to grow, we're going to see marketing start to evolve from that old presentation marketing. You're just throwing some generic representation out there and hoping that somebody latches on and will come to your sales center. Because in the old days, that information was all used to drive traffic to a destination like your sales center or your website, to now allowing them to move to higher levels of marketing, which has been the personalization marketing, so they can get a personalized experience, customization marketing, where they can customize the home of their dreams, that experiential marketing, so they can now be part of it. And we can do that with visuals and also let the AI even talk it up in a sense. But also even some other levels now of predictive marketing, because the AI is starting to respond and react as conversations are going on, and kind of knowing other people like you will probably also like this. So let me recommend this on the fly. But then something hasn't really been touched is conversational marketing. Conversational marketing has really been probably growing because of social influencers and social media. But that's still in a way that somebody has already prepared something and you're digesting it and you're seeing where you're influenced by it. But imagine that social commerce and influencer is interacting with you and delivering content to you personalized on the fly. That kind of interaction will be very compelling for buying something as complex and as emotional as a new home. And that's what we have been building on our side. We want to create the data and the content that will feed the AI, because the greatest, smartest AIs in the world is dumb as a rock if it doesn't have the content to feed it.
Oh, I totally agree. And that's why when I read these articles and I think about it, the fact that our engine, if you will, our back end has the data points that could feed AI. And again, that's why we built our platform the way we did, because we have our own Anugo AI that we're using and serving our clients today. That if we have all of this information, it's only going to make the buying experience that much better. But knowing that the world is going this way and reading these articles and knowing technology is going this way, the fact that we've already done it and it's already created, we're already there. So when it becomes mainstream, our technology is already there and we're already 2 years ahead, right? 2 years ahead of everybody else or any other platform that is out there. So I always like to, whenever I talk to our clients, I'm like, we're the most forward-thinking company. We did this, and you just said it, John. You had no idea that this was going to be this fast or this soon. You've always imagined it. You always wanted it, but you never imagined it would be by the end of 2022.
Exactly. And just to see this possibly going mainstream, when it goes mainstream, the buyer's expecting that to be continued on as they're buying their homes. And so we want to be there. I'm glad we started this 5 years ago, that when it brings it to your website can now finally have a search engine, can actually have an AI assistant, can actually bring the answers and the products to them. That's the expectation. They're not expecting to have this wonderful, like, hey, bring everything to me. And then they get to your door and it's like, I got to go walk down the aisles again. What happened?
Right.
Yeah. So that's what we're seeing. But, in conclusion here, it's actually kind of interesting how everything kind of comes full circle. And, it's kind of in our name, Anugo, where we both have the words ago from the past and new is the future. We're at the dawn of this new digital age of search, but it's coming back to full circle of we actually want to go back to the natural way that we write, that we speak, and that we visually communicate. And so what we're doing is we're getting back to the old natural common ways, but we're using new technologies to help us do this in the new online digital world.
I love it. And I think if you have questions, this is so new, right? That's why we wanted to talk about it, because it's
right,
cutting edge.
But make a new goal of it. I mean, try it.
It was breaking news this whole week. It was in the New York Times. There's so many write-ups. If you go to LinkedIn and search it, there's so many articles of people are influencing it. That's the neat thing too. We've tried it here at Anugo. We encourage you to try it, so you know that we're not full of it. over here that this is what's happening. Like you can literally try it, and it's called Playground, their area that you can try it out and play in it and ask their AI engine
But
what it's
even
all about.
separate from OpenAI and their ChatGPT, actually Google, they're not stupid. They have ton of money, and they're not leaving this behind. They're actually trying to develop their own AI assistant called the code name is Lambda. So they're trying to do the same thing. So I guess the fundamental thing is that search engines in the future may become archaic. The idea of just using keywords, and that's the way you're going to market, and it's just going to dump all this list of, it's like going to the library and then having to walk down to find your book and then find the page that has the content that you want in that book. It's going to seem so archaic when it should just be naturally.
I think in 5 years, just like in the past 10 years, I'll say when I sat in the marketing chair, how much it's changed since I was a marketer, right, for a home builder. And my marketers today, what it's going to look like 5 years from now, I will place money down, John, I think you will too, that the way our marketers are marketing today, talking about Google keywords and talking about everything, it is not even going to be relevant in the next 5 years. What everybody talks about right now in marketing and digital marketing is not even going to be relevant in 5 years. So I need everyone to just buckle in, strap in, because everything is about to change at light speed. And our marketers and our builders that are listening, the way that how business is being done in your marketing, it's changing. It's changing as we speak. We're at the head of it, but it's changing, and it's going to keep changing.
Right.
So just be ready to be flexible and be agile. You have to be agile.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time. I know that went from preschool to PhD, but hopefully you hung in there and you can always play it back.
Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.